Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's episode of A Merit Moment. I am very excited to talk to Cori Murphy from our college planning team. How are you, Cori?
I'm good, thank you.
So, Cori, I guess first off, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I have been in and around this industry for 16 plus years. I have a 20-year-old who did not take the traditional college route. Not every student does. And then I have a freshman in college this year. So when I started doing this, and I'm nice, I started getting goosebumps, and now I'm right there in the thick of it with everyone else.
You are. So, Cori has helped my family a lot. Cori and her team, with my oldest son, who's a junior. We're just starting to get into that process. So, if you don't mind, Cori, I've got a few questions for you today for our guests. So, without further ado,
Sure.
could you please explain to us what a college planning superhero does to save the world?
It's a little tongue in cheek, but and all your families know, there's so much information out there, and a lot of it is very general. Yet our kids are unique, our families are unique, our finances are unique. And so, what I have the ability to do is bring wisdom to that and take that general information and just make it very specific for a family, and so they're getting what they need and what they want out of the process.
That's great. We love having you as our superhero. So, what got you started into the world of college planning, Cori?
I actually was on your side of the table at the get-go and was looking for a specialty, a niche to carve out for myself. And my kids were little, they were 1 and 3. So I stumbled upon literally this real infant niche of college planning. And it was dear to my heart because I was a mom and I had little kids. And so I traveled that road and just took every opportunity along the way. And here we are.
It's great. Do you think there's more confusion surrounding college planning in our country today than there was 15 years ago?
Yes, which is a blessing and a curse. Because it ties back to the amount of information that's available. When we started talking about college planning 15 years ago and college planners, we had to tell families what a college planner was, why it was important, and that conversation was, look, you're going to make $100,000 decision. Don't you think you need some good consultation and some good information so that you can make a smart choice rather than just wing it like we did, right? Took the SAT. I went to college and that was far enough away but close enough, and that used to be how it was done. So, in the beginning, we were educating families on the importance of getting good information, making smart decisions, and that was the way to make college affordable. And over time, it got more expensive and the costs rose and the internet grew. And so now we have the highest college costs at some schools. They're really ridiculous, for lack of a better word, $80,000 a year. And we have the internet where we can search anything and find any nugget of information. So yes, those two things together have made it very confusing. And then back to the wisdom of it all, not every bit of information applies to every family. Every answer is different depending on the college that the student is applying to and the goal that the family has, that the parents have at the end of the day. So yes.
That's great. And you talk about the internet. There is so much out there. And I'm intrigued when I see a 91% error rate reported by the Department of Education on parents that file the FAFSA form.
Right.
And so I think it speaks to the amount of help that we can provide, and that families really do need our services out there. So
Sure.
if you,
And sorry, not to interrupt, but to give you an analogy, is I don't know, do you prepare your own tax returns?
no, I don't. I have
I
a
don't
CPA.
either. I know you're a financial guy, you know numbers, but you don't know the tax code. I know financial aid forms, but I can read a tax return, but to have my CPA tell me what numbers go where and why, and if there's any gray area or anything strategically that I can do going forward to better my situation, that's what I rely on my CPA to do. And that's what your families rely on you to do in the college planning arena.
Absolutely. So thank you for that. If you could narrow it down, what do you think is one of the biggest challenges that parents have to navigate today? So not looking for your whole list, just maybe one difficulty that parents face, and how does the College Funding Service Center step in and help with that?
I think it all comes back to the college search, because it all rests on that. If we're picking the right colleges that our students can get into, get a fair amount of discount at, whether that's a grant, a scholarship, whatever that looks like, those two things together, the right college at the right price, the student graduates on time, meaning 4 years, and many of them do not. That's how we keep this affordable. It's college. It's not free, and it requires an investment of time and money. But it comes back to picking the right colleges for our kids, getting those, making it affordable, and them graduating on time.
Thank you. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
So last question for you today. If you could give parents of juniors and seniors one piece of encouragement for their college planning journey, what would that be?
Just keep putting one foot in front of the other. It is a stressful thing. It is our kids and our money, and there's all kinds of expectations and stress that swirl around it. But if you keep putting one foot in front of the other, it will all come together. Our kids will graduate high school. They will launch off to college. It may not end up how we expect it to. And I just mean in a linear straight line, it may be a little squirrely, but these kids do go, and they do finish, and it all comes together how they need it or want it to.
It's great. Well, listen, I appreciate your time. I know you're very busy, and so thanks again for joining us, Cori.
You bet. Happy to do it.
Please join us next week as JB Howard will be discussing the 4% rule and what impact that has on retirement planning. So we'll look forward to seeing you next week on A Merit Moment next Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you, folks.
Okay, bye-bye.